Finally, the streak of mediocrity is broken. I honestly thought after the past few weeks that I would forget how to positively review a film.
Rob would have loved this place. He's a good man. The best of us.
You know, they have walking trails in England. Pubs. Come on, man, where's your soul?
The Ritual is directed by David Bruckner. It stars Rafe Spall, Arsher Ali, Robert James-Collier, and Sam Troughton. It's based on a book by Adam Neville, and it tells the story of 4 friends who go onto a hike in the woods 6 months after the death of their friend Rob in order to honor his memory. And once they enter the woods, they get lost and things get a little crazy and weird, and tensions run high. I had heard whispers of this film in the festival circuit for a while. I know I saw the trailer for it early last year, back when it first entered the festival scene, and I thought it looked pretty good, and then I hadn't really heard anything about it, and then out of nowhere it just came to Netflix this past week. And I finally got time to watch it, and I'm really pleased to say that I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. This is the feature film directorial debut of David Bruckner, who directed the best segment of VHS, Amateur Night, as well as several other short films. I think one of them was part of a film called The Signal, and one was part of Southbound, which I haven't seen yet. And after seeing The Ritual, I honestly can't wait to see what this guy does next, because he has some talent. David Bruckner's directing really stands out here as one of the best parts of the film, hands down. The overall editing and cinematography of this movie are impeccable. The location of rural Sweden is atmospheric enough, but then once they enter the woods, every shot becomes an ocean of trees. They're consistently framed to almost look like prison bars, filling the screen and restricting movement and restricting visuals, and as the film goes on and they get more lost, there's more and more trees and there's less and less visibility, and more trunks and branches are filling the frame, and that is just excellent symbolism and just really great cinematography there. It's really awesome. And you can see how well crafted each single frame of this movie is. I'm a bit unfamiliar with the source material, so I can't tell how accurate this film was to the book, but with how interesting the story of this film is, I really want to read the book now. The story lends to vibes of both The Witch and Blair Witch, despite definitely having elements of those films as well as several other stories. I mean, there's only so much you can do with 4 guys get lost in the woods. The movie still manages to be really original and really innovative in the direction it takes it. And I think that was really cool. The tension in this movie is gripping right from the start of the film. You immediately just get blindsided with some seriously awful violence, and then you're thrust into 6 months later when their friend is already dead, and tensions are already running really high amongst them, you can tell. And then once they enter the woods, you know something's wrong, but you just can't quite tell what it is. And like I said, there's enough dramatic tension and discourse between the friends before they enter the woods, so once they actually get lost, things just escalate and get worse and worse, and the tensions get higher and higher, and that is honestly one of the best parts of this film. This movie, especially for the first 2 acts, is so intense and so uncomfortable, and that is by far the most well-done part of this movie, is just the overall tension that it creates. The way Bruckner handles the entity in this film, that's all I'll say, I don't want to spoil too much about what it is or what it isn't, is really impressive, because it would be so easy for a movie like this to overuse the thing and make it just look terrible and basically numb the audience to it by the end, but Bruckner uses it so sparingly throughout this film. For the first 2 acts of this film, you're not even sure if what you're seeing is really there or if it's just another manifestation of Luke's guilt, the way he keeps seeing the liquor store. This thing's only seen in fleeting glimpses, seen at a distance, seen in quick little frames and little bits of movement that you don't quite know if they're even real. You as an audience member are in the same seat as the main characters in this film, in that you don't know what to believe is really happening, and you don't quite know whether what you're being shown is real or if you're just being as paranoid as they are. You only ever know as much as the main characters do in this film, and that is awesome storytelling. The actual design of the thing, too, is incredibly original, and it's just really cool to look at, and honestly, it's not really like anything I've ever seen in a film before. Even in the 3rd act, where the entity is more, you know, front and center, Bruckner still uses all these incredible camera tricks and lighting tricks to keep it obscured and keep it looking great and really get all he can out of the visual effects, which are really excellent in this film. I was so surprised. Speaking on the subject of the 3rd act, though, this is where I'm going to get into the more negative aspects of the film, because to me, the 3rd act is where it falters a bit, and while it does present us with some really awesome trippy horror imagery, it feels like a step back from the previous 2 absurdly tense acts, in that this is where the tension gets relieved a bit, I feel, in that you're seeing a little too much and things stop making so much sense. I do wish we found out a little more about this group of pagan people in the woods. They were introduced so late in the film, and as a result their motivation feels somewhat rushed and underdeveloped, and I would have liked to just, have seen a bit more of them and learned a little more about them. Because you get a little bit of information, but it's not enough in my opinion. Possibly my biggest gripe with this film, weirdly enough, because I don't usually talk about this, is its score. Because honestly, it's just so generic and just the standard horror score that you completely forget it. There's not a single song in this movie that is memorable. There's nothing that is evoking of any real emotion at all, and that's a bummer, because that is far less than this film deserved in my opinion. With a good composer, I think this film could have actually been excellent, and as it stands, it's just kind of generic in terms of the score, and the film does suffer a bit for it, in my opinion. All in all, though, The Ritual is a really good movie, and thankfully it's broken the streak of mediocre films that I've been seeing over the last month or so. I would definitely say it's worth checking out. It's on Netflix right now, and I'm gonna say that The Ritual is solid. It's exceptionally well directed and well shot, and it's easily one of the more tense films I've seen this year. It's funny, though, of the two most recent Netflix releases, the one I was most excited for ended up disappointing me, and the one I had no expectations for ended up really surprising me, and I liked it a lot. Don't trust your expectations, kids. I would definitely recommend watching it, though. It's a good time, and it's a really well-made film. David Bruckner, I think, is going places, especially after seeing this film. I can't wait to see what he does next, personally. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. You can click down there and like and comment and subscribe, and I'll be back with another review real soon. Thanks.
Fucking hell, we don't know where we